While we wait for more people to join us, let's get to know each other just a bit. If everybody could drop in the chat where you're joining us from. Drop in the chat where you're joining us from while we are getting started. And I'm going to actually share some housekeeping items. I know you all are probably tired of hearing those by now, but they're so important. Please feel free to drop in the chat where you're all from. I see Laura is from Houston, Texas. And while the rest of you all are dropping it in, just a few reminders. This is a safe and supportive space. Please help us maintain a respectful and inclusive environment. Please mute yourself at all times. Use the chat and Hoover to interact with other attendees and to tell us where you're from. For questions for our presenters, Walter and Anaya and Miss Gretchen, use the Q&A function in Hoover. We have a couple forms that Lady Jane is going to help me drop into the chat. A general sign-in sheet. Please take a few minutes to sign into this workshop. And then we also have a CEU form for those of you who are looking to get continuing education credits. Be sure to fill out the sign-in sheet and the CEU form. And you will have to be here for the full workshop to be able to get CEUs. At the end of the workshop, we will drop the workshop evaluation into the chat for you to share your feedback. Without further ado, we have a full agenda for this workshop. Please join me in welcoming our presenters, Walter Hull, who is a passionate advocate and mentor for children and youth in the arts. He is an innovator of successful programs and mentoring models that build assets, break generational cycles, and empower children and parents. He is a thriving thought leader, social artist, and youth development strategist in Houston, Texas. Miss Anaya Wingate is a radiant and talented African-American dancer and college student whose riveting work in dance, storytelling, and film captures both her pain, but more importantly, her perseverance in amazing ways. As a creative team, Walter and Anaya describe themselves as intergenerational storytellers and collaborators. Together, they have created films Shoulders Deep and Raising Anaya, a featured documentary about exposing environmental justice issues in the Gulf Coast region of Louisiana and Texas. And also, as a part of this panel, we have Miss Gretchen Batiste, who is a mother of 3 daughters and a grandmother of 1 boy and 6 girls. Hands up to you, Miss Gretchen. Miss Gretchen has a background working with at-risk children and youth from elementary to high school. She has worked at alternative schools and group homes for 20 years. She is an ordained minister and a certified life coach and is furthering her education in counseling. Now we're going to watch a brief video featuring our presenters. Thank you, Lady Jane, for sharing that.
Oh my God, y'all. Oh my God. I remember me looking outside the window in the living room, and I remember seeing the water there, and my other one said, Anaya, don't be loud, don't cry, don't worry, because Kimmy is in the room sleeping, and I don't want you to wake her up. And so, like, during all that time, I was trying to be all strong and stuff like that and not cry, because I didn't want to scare my little sister or anything like that. The fact that a boat was floating in the middle of the street scared the heck out of me. I didn't realize, well, of course I realized how deep the water was because it was up to my shoulders, but I realized the change that was going to happen after the fact. The houses in our neighborhood were all flooded. It was about 2 feet of water into our home. We lost the walls, we lost the floor, the counters, the furniture, a lot of things we had to replace after that.
We had to move out of the house because it was not fit for us to live in. So we stayed at the hotel, myself, Lawana, which is my sister, and Cammie, and Anaya lived with her godmother and Tanisha because her daughter and I went to school together. And we stayed separated for 6 months. Anaya, myself, and my sister and Cammie were all, Anaya was in one place and we were in a hotel. So that was 6 months before we could actually move back in after the house was reconstructed. When I got over there, you was like, you needed to talk to me. You came downstairs like we normally do. You stood in front of me and you just broke down crying and you said, Mama, this is so hard. And I started asking, what's wrong? You crying, I'm crying. And I felt so helpless. That was hard. It was very, very hard. I felt like I was abandoning you. You know, it's like you're abandoning your child, even though you know that you're doing what only you can do. You know, it was nothing else I could do.
Facts. Shut in, pinned down, cut off, confined. Compressed along the edges, boxed myself within the lines. Harvey dripping off my fingertips, smelled the bayou in my hair. The stench of pain stuck on my clothes, questioning God, do you even care? Anxious. Sitting legs crossed as the walls decrease in longitude. At this latitude, really, I think I've lost each inch of gratitude. Facts. Water flooding through my soul, wrapping its waves around memories of the bedroom I slept in, the smell of home I've now forgotten. For 6 months straight, death breathing through my every move for each day, 6 months straight. Ordered footsteps, designation, molding the shape of my space. Harvey took my space. Harvey took my bed away. Harvey had me at a latest crying every single day. Path corrupted mass destruction, but I carved my own way. And my power only grows, although Harvey never gave mine back to me. And that's facts, y'all. Period. Harvey is rooted in me. I feel like it's important to portray the entire story of not only me, but my support system. Not only my pain, but the pain that the people around me have experienced. Yes. The environment, my city, my neighborhood, my school, my friends, and my family. That's the most important to me. Through some way, through dance and art, poetry, film, I really want the audience friends, family, everyone besides me to physically, mentally, and spiritually feel everything that was taken away from me, but how things shifted in a positive way for me to gain everything that I've gained since then.
Wow. Wow. Welcome back, everyone. That was so powerful. And I want to get us right to hearing from our presenters, Walter, Anaya, and Miss Gretchen. We'll come back afterwards for reflections. If there's time, we'll take Q&A, but if not, I want to encourage you to write your questions down, because Walter and Anaya will also be on a panel immediately following this on the use of film and art and healing and justice, and you'll be able to have Q&A there. So turning over to Walter, Anaya, and Miss Gretchen.
Hello, everyone. My name is Walter.
My name is Anaya.
And my name is Gretchen.
And welcome to the workshop on intergenerational learning and collaboration, the impact of storytelling for justice and healing. Today, we're going to have a conversation about the three of us and our relationship. Myself as Anaya mentor, Anaya as an artist, and Gretchen as her grandmother who's supportive. And we've also included her in a number of our projects. So to begin today, I just want to kind of introduce my work. I am a youth development strategist. I'm a choreographer. I'm a social artist. And over the past 5 years, I'm a climate change and environmental health professional and activist. I got into this work about 4 years ago when my colleague asked the dance company to be a part of a film that he wanted to do about environmental justice in the Gulf Coast region. I use our young dancers, as I always want to give them opportunities to really hone in on their craft. And Anaya was always around, and she was really one of the stars of the project. And eventually, we decided to do a long-term project about her and I investigating environmental justice in the Gulf Coast region, and us learn together and then collaborate and create some art together on what we learned. It's so important for young people to learn from seasoned adults, and it's even more important for us as adults to learn from young people. So today we're just going to talk about our process and our work. So Anaya, I'll kind of let you kind of start about our relationship, like how we got started as mentor and protege, and just give the people out there a little bit of background of our relationship, which has been 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 9 years? 9 years.
About 9, yeah, about 9.
9
Oh,
years.
God. Hey, guys, I'm Anaya, as I said already. So basically, me and Walter, I first seen Walter at an audition. I went to the Rhodes School in Houston, Texas, and it was a fine arts charter school, and I studied dance as my fine art. And my dance teacher, her name was Stacy Allen, and she danced for Urban Souls Dance Company in Houston, Texas. And she was telling me that her dance company was basically making a youth program. And I was super excited about it. And I kind of forgot about it towards the end of the week. And then I woke up the Saturday morning and I remember specifically my grandmother getting me dressed in the basically the attire that they wanted us to have, and she curled my hair and she took me off to the audition, and I met Walter, and it honestly was extremely intimidating. You could tell that they immediately expected a lot out of the youth dancers. You know, it wasn't really for fun. it was really serious. And they immediately expected us to, how can I put it? Basically be woke and to be aware about the things that were going on in the broader community. And I ended up making the program and I stuck with it. And so basically me and Walter have been knowing each other since I was in 5th grade. And now I'm 19 and I'm a sophomore at Sam Houston State University. And we've been working together ever since. And it's been a very amazing opportunity. Walter teaches me so much, but I feel like we teach each other. And our relationship has really taught him a lot as an adult, and has also opened doors and opportunities for me and my grandmother to learn a lot about each other. So yeah, it's been really cool. Basically, I love him.
Yeah, I love you as well, Anaya. One of the things that the reason why we started a youth program was we had a lot of adults who were coming to us in our professional company that were African American, but they were kind of broken from having a predominantly white dance experience, and their culture and their bodies and the way they express themselves wasn't really valued. So we had to rebuild adults to understand that, yo, you're beautiful and we're going to tell stories about our community. So we only thought that the right thing to do was to work with kids and do some prevention work instead of intervention work when they become adults. So with Anaya and her cohort, it was all about teaching them how to navigate white privilege and dance, creating a space for these young Black girls to be in a relationship with each other, to support each other, and more importantly, to learn about their community and respond. I remember when the Trayvon Martin verdict was coming up, and we had a fundraiser that we introduced the youth company, and we did a piece about the anxiety of waiting to see if George Zimmerman was going to be convicted. And minutes before they performed, like popcorn, everybody in the audience phone was going off on alerts because, you know, he was not found guilty. When Michael Brown died, you know, we responded with improv in the studio. I mean, even when Ebola hit Africa the way it did, we responded as well. So we've been teaching them about using their voice as artists to be activists and to bring awareness of certain issues that will impact them and impact the broader community. Now, Gretchen, you have been there the whole time while Anaya was dancing with the Urban Souls, our relationship as collaborators, doing the documentary Shoulders Deep and Raising Anaya. How important it is for young people to have these artistic experiences while they're growing up?
Again, my name is Gretchen, and as Walter said, I'm Anaya's grandmother, and I've had the privilege of getting to know Anaya and Walter in this way as far as the dance company is concerned, but more so on a personal level. Raising Anaya and seeing Anaya grow from when she first started with them, because of course I watched her start dancing in the kitchen when she was 4 and 5 years old, and to see her develop to the artist that she is today, I'm so proud of her. But I realized, oh my God, Walter and Anaya, I've learned so much from you guys. You showed me the importance, because watching her express herself at home was one thing, but gaining the audience that she gained from Walter, Mr. Guy, and every other person that supported her, Miss Allen, to see the change, her growth mentally, because dance is not a way for them to express themselves physically, but it's also mentally, it's emotionally, it's psychologically, it's their presence. They changed. She evolved and became a young lady because I had Walter to help me to understand the art of dancing, and I had Anaya to show me how important it was for her to experience this. So I learned that it was critical. Every person does not express themselves the same. And art for her, oh my God. And if Walter hadn't been in the place that he was in, Mr. Guy, everybody else that played a part in her arriving to the place that she is today, it would not have happened that way. Everybody played their part, and it brought light to me, because this is a terminology I was not aware of. I didn't know how to speak the language of dance. I didn't know how to speak that language, that art. But you all introduced me to it. And when I say I'm so grateful, it is such a beautiful journey to see her from there to here. And all of us together have grown as one unit. I mean, we can almost finish each other. I love it. I'm excited. I know I'm not a dancer. I wish I was. In my heart, I am. Because when she's moving, I don't know if people ever watch me watch her dance. I'm moving with her. It's like my body, because I feel it in my soul. It's like, wow, to see her come into her own. And that's a lot because of what you all put in her. The space that you gave these girls to be who they really, really are, rare, so rare. And I'm so grateful. So yeah, it is critical, Mr. It is critical. How many kids would be so much more advanced in life had they had somebody to do this for them? A lot of things we wouldn't see happening today if our kids had this opportunity. So it's a must. It's a must. Yes.
Beautifully said, Mom. Can I just piggyback off a little bit?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, beautifully said. I just wanted to say that yes, that is so true. Everything you said, like, is so true. And it really took me a long time, or not a long time, but it took a good amount of time for me to get to the place where like I could be vulnerable in my movement. And Walter knows, I mean, we all know this, but like it took a lot out of me because like she said, dance changes you as a person. And it really like woke something up in me. But because of a lot of, I feel like, trauma I went through growing up, it took a lot for it to get outside of me and for me to show it through my movement. And so without the relationship and connections that I had through Urban Souls, and also just the support system I had throughout filming Shoulders Deep and raising Anaya, I don't think I, would have tapped into that or gained access to it. And also, I feel like my journey as a dancer is a lot different than others, especially for young Black dancers, because usually it's the other way around. Urban Souls, like Walter said, they had to focus on teaching professional dancers at the professional level to basically break down the trauma that they had to experience, or the fact that their movement was, I feel like, colonized throughout the dance community, because dance is so white. That's about as real as it can get. And I got to experience it the other way around. And so now that I have stepped into the like professionalism sort of dance, like dancing in college, I can see it. And I'm really grateful for that, because I feel like I have an idea, or not just have an idea, but I feel like I know who I am as a person, especially through dance. You know what I mean? And I don't think I would have, like I said, I don't think I would have been able to tap into that if I didn't have this.
For sure. Thank you, Gretchen and Anaya. So let's get into our short film, Shoulders Deep, which it's an extension of Raising Anaya, which is our feature film, which comes out next year, which is really about Anaya and the intersections of her as a young Black woman and our relationship, and us investigating environmental justice in the Gulf Coast region, and then responding as co-collaborators. Let's talk about the project, because it really had a lot to do with Hurricane Harvey. When Hurricane Harvey hit, I remember having a conversation with you, and you were staying at Alasia's house, and you was just letting me know that, you were at Alasia's house, and Granny and, your aunt and Cammie was in the hotel. And you was just so calm and just telling this story. And of course, for me, being a trauma-informed, specialist, I'm like, wait a minute. Like, you're displaced. And I just remember listening to you, and, I was deeply concerned, because I know when you're uprooted in the middle of the night and you can't go back to that place that you call home, that place is safe, I can just only imagine. And, you know, when I brought this project to you, I said that I wanted this to be a tool of healing. I didn't want you to relive trauma. You are your grandmother. I wanted to actually show people the process of healing, from understanding the displacement and being present to your family coming together and you all supporting each other. So I just want us to kind of have a conversation, Anaya, about, you know, shoulders deep and your approach to that and what you learn from creating art that's based off of your own traumatic experience.
Well, I do remember when we first talked about the project and it was brought to me, and then it was clear that I had to actually make art out of what I experienced. And I was extremely intimidated by that because I didn't know if I wanted to like go back there. You know, I kind of wanted to just like move on and forget about it, because during that time, I tried to stay as calm as I could and try to keep it together, because I felt so much stress throughout my family, because like you said, me and my grandmother were displaced. We were not, she is my everything. So when we were separated, I literally had to navigate my life like without my rock being there. You know what I mean? So at the same time, it taught me a lot. And I had to realize that with the project, it could possibly not help me let go, but embrace the hardship of the experience and the beauty in it. And so, yeah, I'm actually, now that I look back at it, I'm really glad I had that opportunity. And I'm so glad that it was able to touch as many people as it did, because it seems like, I don't know, it seems like a lot of people don't get, well, young people in general, I feel like they don't have the opportunity usually to express how they feel, especially about the things that have traumatized them through art. Or, you know, I was able to use spoken word and dance and imagery and scenery. I was able to utilize the group that came from Mississippi, the children there, and to correlate with them and connect with them. I was able to use my family members. And all of that, I feel like it had such great amount to do with the healing process of it, because I feel like what took place broke me, and coming together to make the project kind of just added everything that was broken back into me, because it was just like, I don't know, like I don't want to get like emotional talking about it, but I didn't really notice like how I struggle mentally until I had to live with my god sister Alasia in like that small apartment, you know, and she just has her mom. Like, she lives with her mom. They have a great relationship. But to even watch her correlate with her mom every day, like, I didn't have that growing up. Me and my mother were not as close as they are. Like, she's always had her mom. So even to experience that and watch that, I mean, it was a lot all at one time. It was draining. I had to wake up and still go to school every day. I was still in every I didn't, it's not like I could have left all the organizations I was in. I remember being in a lot of extracurricular activities. My grades were still expected to be high, especially because I was considered a transfer student, because I came from another district. So one slip up, one absence, tardies or anything just counted against me. And during that time, I felt like everything in the universe was counted against me. I just felt like everything was pushing against me. And now that I look at it, I feel like everything was almost molding me and shaping me in a way, because it gave me this experience to use art to talk about everything that I felt during that time, even connecting me to my little sister more. Because when I was younger, we had a little, I mean, we're still growing as a relationship, but me and my sister, she's beautiful and she's lovely. And it's so weird and amazing to watch like someone you're related to grow in such like a close proximity. But she has a very different experience than what I had growing up. So to watch it has always been odd, and I always felt really odd about it, and I never really wanted to address it. But during that time, I kind of had to push that to the side and embrace her in every way that I could, no matter how much she annoyed me or whatever, because we needed each other. And I needed everyone in my life at that time. I got to embrace Elijah's mother and Elijah's family, and the people at school, the teachers that asked me how I was doing every day. You know, it just created more space for more connections. And I'm so grateful for everyone that stepped into my life during that time. And that experience really just taught me that stuff means nothing. I lost everything. I lost clothes and shoes. And I was so obsessed with like fashion during that time. I remember I got my hair done for the first time. I got a closure quick weave. I'm so sorry, y'all. Y'all probably don't even know what that is, but I was so excited. I got like burgundy highlights in my hair, and I'm like, oh yes, sophomore year. And it's like, I felt a drop in my spirit. But throughout the time, I was very uplifted, especially when the community came together to help us rip out the carpet in our house. And I don't know, it made me stronger. That's what I can say.
Mhm. And, you know, I created the framework of Shoulders Deep, which, you know, I really wanted that scene with you and your sister. Then I wanted that box because you talked about how you used to have your own room and you had to share a room with someone. And then I wanted to create that village at the end. So I created a framework for you to just play in and kind of connect. So do you feel like that was healing for you when we were doing the filming, or when did you feel a sense of, I'm not going to say letting go the trauma, but having a new relationship with the trauma? Was it during the process, or was it when you finally saw the end process? What was it for you?
I feel like one of the most healing moments during creating this project was when I had to basically physically tape out the box, that confined space that I felt like. And it was basically about the size of like a twin bed in like some room, which was basically like the size of her
Mhm.
room. So it made like dancing, and I remember that it wasn't choreographed, so I got to improv based off that feeling. And so like in the process of that, I don't know, I felt a sense of like just letting that loose. And that was one of the most healing experiences that I had during that time. And also I would say, when, I don't know if you remember, but like my grandmother's word that she spoke, like you can hear her talking and explaining what happened. But I was there during that time, like when she recorded it, when John, our director, recorded it. And so also having to listen to her, give her side on it, or like just her looking in from the outside, or not the outside, but basically like talking about how I felt from her perspective was very healing as well. It just made me look at it in a different perspective, and also made me appreciate our relationship more, even though I'm very appreciative on it. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. So for the sake of time, we're just gonna jump a little bit, but Anaya and I, after we did Shoulders Deep, we continued to collaborate on projects. And we just finished a project at the end of August. We were part of the Climate Woke Summit, which premieres this weekend. And we were part of a short film called Reclaiming the Earth. And it was really about Black people reclaiming the earth. And so it was actually Aniya's project. And so she called me and said, hey, Walter, do you want to collaborate with this project? And I'm like, sure. And so once she told me about the project and I started choreographing on her, I was like, you know what? This is really about our ancestors speaking to us. I was like, we need to get Gretchen involved in this because Gretchen has this beautiful voice. You know, she's a lot, you know, she likes to be out there and I love it. And so we brought, you know, this was a true intergenerational collaboration. You know, Gretchen is a little bit older than me. I'm not going to tell your age, Gretchen. And then you have me, and then you have Anaya. So it was this true intergenerational collaboration to where Gretchen actually, Anaya wrote the poem and Gretchen performed it. And when I remember Gretchen talking about it in a hotel room, she was like, y'all, I think I did good. I think I did my recording good. And when I saw the rough cut like 2 weeks ago, Gretchen, your performance blew me away, girl. Like that was really great. Like, so I want to hear from you. I want to hear, what was it like you collaborating with Anaya and I for this really important piece? And we got to travel to Oakland and experience some new artists that we hadn't worked with before, and we had a really great time. I just want to hear what that collaboration was like for you.
Wow, that collaboration was not just that work at that moment that I did. It was everything that was included from the flight. And I know some people may not get this, but just as Anaya, and I'm trying my best not to cry, just as she's coming into herself, you all are making that little girl in me that always wanted to experience, that didn't get a chance. I'm coming into a place in my life that I've never ever been before.
Wow.
And to have somebody to trust me enough to say, these people didn't know me, you knew me, but they didn't know me. But they had to trust you enough to say, okay, Walter, let's do it. And it brought me, I got a chance to meet a side of myself that I had never met before, because the challenge in doing the recording, you all knew when we went through the little talk we had, and y'all was like, just be yourself and just do this. But I had to find her. I had to find her. And because of the little situation that caused them to make that change, I found her. I met her. And she was absolutely, when I say, I mean that part of me that rose to the occasion in spite of the fear. And Walter, when they had me go into that room, and the young man that did the other part that was already so well trained and so well together, here I am as a novice, and they put that microphone right there, something happened, Walter. When I first heard my voice and she turned the recorder on to let me hear a little bit of it, I was like, oh my God, that's me. And so the more I got a chance to talk and the more I got a chance to recite, not knowing that was my granddaughter's writing, I felt myself, I felt my answer, I felt my grandmother, I felt my mom, I felt some strength in me, and my shoulders got relaxed, and I remember letting go, closing my eyes and just saying it. And I was like, wow. That's why I was telling them, I say, everything that happened for this trip was truly ordained by God. From the time you and I met, from the time that at 4 years old that Anaya had to move in with me and my mom, everything has been moving towards a place that I didn't know. And it included me. My background, I never thought I would do it. So that was a moment for me. I will forever be grateful, and to experience with two people that know me. You know, me and you have, my God, we've done some things, and you saw some ugly sides of me. You've seen that side of me that was so fearful, that wasn't trusting, that didn't know. All I knew is I'm old school. You know, I come from, but you taught me to let my shoulders drop. You taught me how to say, Gretchen, it's new. We don't have time for that. Let's go. And I had to trust what God put in you enough to say, I'm going. If Walter say go, I'm going, because Anaya is here. I'm looking at her, I'm looking at me. I'm like, I'm supposed to be here, and I'm going to do the best that I can. I'm learning. Doing your best is what God required of you. We didn't know it really was enough. Just do your best. Your best may not look like somebody else's best, but do your best, what you are called to do. And I did it. And I didn't know what I was called to do until I actually did it. So I'm waking up. Y'all making me wake up. You didn't have to call me and say, you want to go yet? I'm like, yeah, I go. Walter, go. We can have a good time, not knowing what really this whole thing, oh my God, this little girl is growing up. I mean, and I'm just so grateful, because I've been in a box for so many years. I've done what I've done, but it was a lot of survival. It was just me moving out of survival. Nobody knew that. It was me surviving and me doing to not allow my granddaughter to experience what I didn't want mentally, emotionally, physically, psychologically, financially. She will not. Because other people, you look at the way it's set up, they have some support that she don't have. And my thing is, I give everybody the support, but I've got to focus on this right here because she's going to open, where she walks, they don't even know they're going to walk behind. It's for them too. And it has to open up real wide. So for me to come in the background and say, hey, I'm a part of this too. Oh man, I'm grateful, Walter. I'm so grateful. I thank you all so much for including me. I thank you. I thank you.
Gretchen, what you just said is the whole point of this conversation that we had. Art heals.
Yes, it does.
It's a healing tool. I'm listening to Anaya talk about when she first came to the dance company and she wasn't emotionally available in the dance. And we had to wake that up because the trauma of her great grandmother passing, she never dealt with it. So she didn't want to connect to anything that was emotional. So it was really a journey. And Anaya and I both know when it woke up. It was in class. She was doing a solo improv and it just, I mean, she just released and that was a wrap. That was really a wrap. And I remember when you actually performed it and Lauren Anderson, who was the first prima ballerina for Houston Ballet, she went up to you and she said, go even further.
That was my favorite memory. That is my favorite memory.
Wow.
I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that. I'll never, ever, ever forget that.
Wow.
And then Gretchen, you stepping into, us asking you to collaborate with us and you doing that job, it just makes me realize that that's where you're supposed to be. And we're all spiritual beings, so we don't believe in coincidence and everything. I learned a lot from you, Gretchen, over the years. I've learned a lot about patience. Anaya, with you, I've learned patience too, but I learned that young people is a force when it comes to the creative process. So I love collaborating with her the same way I love collaborating with my peers that are about my age. There's no difference whatsoever. Yeah, there can still be a learning that happens with her as being a young professional, but I'm still gaining so much knowledge and wisdom on the innovation and the risk that young people take, So I appreciate everyone for joining us today. This was really good for me. Gretchen, I learned some new stuff. And you made me feel good about trusting my process and saying, no, I want Gretchen part of this. And it was way bigger than us. Thank you, Anaya, for always being a positive light in my life. Yes, Gretchen, go ahead.
I just wanted to end this with this. What Anaya didn't realize and what you all didn't realize, every time you pulled her out of something, I was pulled out of something because I was at the rehearsals. I had to bring her, even when I had back surgery and I was sitting in the car in that brace, in so much pain. So when she, like you said, that moment that she had, I wasn't even in that room when she had it, but I promised you, it was pulling me in that same direction. As God healed her, he healed me. And as God healed me, he healed you. We were all in movement together and did not even realize it. This is something, the Bible talks about a three-part cord. A three-part cord is very difficult to break. So we didn't ask for this to happen. God did it. But when Anaya is pulled out, you all were pulling me out. So I'm grateful for the process. I'm learning to trust the process.
Come on, Bible study.
Come on, buddy. We're proud of you, buddy. Trusting the process. Thank you all for being with us today. Anaya, I will let you have the final words. There are young people that are going to be part of this conference. Tell young people what they need to do to be comfortable with themselves, to really be able to create art and use art as healing. But not only that, be in relationships with adults to where they can collaborate and they can learn together.
Well, for starters, take the time out to know you, to know who you are, know what you like, know what you don't like, know what you're comfortable with, what you're not comfortable with, because the more you know you, the quicker you grow, you know? That's something I had to learn, and I really had to a lot of times I had to say no to things because I wanted to focus and really die down on finding out who I am as an individual. And sometimes that's so hard to do, especially when you want to be an autopilot. Whew, that's so hard, but do it because it's worth it. And also, don't let adults run over you. I am very, listen, I am very respectful. Everyone knows that. And I respect my elders, but don't let them overpower you, especially in places that matter where we're supposed to have the same amount of power. You know, we deserve a seat at the table just as much as they do, and be mindful of that, and surround yourself with, you know, adults that make you comfortable with who you are. And also surround yourself with adults that challenge you to even grow further than that. Sometimes that can be uncomfortable. It's been a lot of times where I did not want to go to practice and have a conversation with Walter because I know he was just gonna push me in the right direction. And sometimes you want to go slower than what you should go in, but a little push is always good. A little push is always good. And sometimes that's all it takes to really tap into, you know, the star that you can be. So that's all I say. Just be you, boo. That's it. Be
Facts. Facts. I want to send a big thanks out to the Hawk Foundation and Prevention Institute. And I want to extend gratitude for Dana for believing in us to be part of the Young Minds Matter conference. And I look forward to hearing from you. Please get in touch with us. I think there will be information about how to get in touch with Anaya and I if you want to collaborate with us, or if you just want some more knowledge, or if you want to pour some knowledge into us, we're welcome. We love collaboration. So we appreciate you and thank you for tuning in.
Wow. Wow, everybody. I'm speechless at Anaya. I'm speechless at the connections that you all have had. Walter, art heals. That is apparent through this. Anaya, all the wisdom you dropped in this, the more you know, the quicker you grow. I wish I was as wise as you are at your age. And Miss Gretchen, man, I want to come sit in your kitchen with you and just soak in all of that wisdom you have. I want to hear you sing and perform. I want to be a part of your light. Walter and Anaya will be featured on our next summit. We don't have a ton of time for questions. We are almost at time, but I do want to ask Walter if you or Anaya can address a question coming from someone. What suggestions do either of you have for someone in a rural area seeking resources to assist with storytelling? Do you all have any ideas for someone working in a rural area with young people to assist with storytelling?
Wow, that's a really great question because we're city folks. We're true city folks. You know what? Since COVID, you know, there are so many virtual platforms and virtual communities. So I would tell them to look at programs that are offering virtual programs to help with young people and storytelling. I know it's out there. If I can research it and send that information to you, Dana, and we can give that information out, but I'm sure it lives virtually. Also, I would just say, if you have a phone with a video, you can create your own video journal. We had Anaya create a video journal for Raising Anaya documentary. So if you can create your content on your phone and just capture it and save it to like a Google Drive, that's you telling your story. That's you owning your own narrative. So I would start with using the resources that is already available and at your fingertips. Anaya, would you like to add on to that?
I would say I would agree. I was just about to mention how I had to use video journals. And also, it's been so many times where we've traveled for like film conventions and to meet like people who make documentaries, and you'd be so surprised at like how many people are very interested to share stories of people in rural areas or areas that have less resources than others, especially places that are, you know, away from the city. You'd be very surprised. So, like Walter said, if you have a phone or a laptop or anything, you know, you can also utilize that and research and find people who are interested, or reach out to filmmakers and poets and such. And you'd be surprised at how easy and almost effortless it is to connect with people that are interested to help you share your story.
Your story matters.
Thank you so much. We could listen to you all day. And fortunately, folks get to hear Walter and Anaya in our next big session. Everyone is in this one session on the use of film and arts in healing and justice. One of my reflections from this session is ancestral ties are healing. I heard that in something you all said. I think when you were talking about the Climate Woke Summit, you know, no matter what culture you are, what ethnicity you are, I believe ancestral ties are healing.
Dana, you can ask Anaya. When we're in rehearsal, I tell her, girl,
call your ancestors.
Call them in.
Call on the ancestors. And I don't want to get into a sermon here, but I got the spirit running all through me. Miss Gretchen, I just want you to know you have a fan club going on in the chat. So
nice.
Check that out. Everyone, please take a few moments to complete the workshop survey that Lady Jane dropped into the chat. If you're seeking CEUs, don't forget to fill out your form. Thank you, my friend Walter. This is my friend. Thank you, Anaya. Thank you, Miss Gretchen, for sharing those perspectives, that wisdom, that insight, that light and love today. And many thanks to all of you joining us. Jump on over to the next panel to hear Walter and Anaya more. And we'll get some additional questions answered there. They'll be able to share with you how you can follow updates on Shoulders Deep. People are asking that, Walter.
Absolutely.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.